Hey, how's your week going? I hope it's going great, and I hope the rest of your week is even better. Now, last week we talked about 5 criteria that you should know before you put an offer in. This week we're going to stick with one of the conditions in the offer, and that is home inspections. Clifton Quayle, eXp Realty. I've been opening the door to your future since 2007. Hit the like button and subscribe. And join me for these conversations. It's my goal to educate you so that you are well informed in the buying and or selling process so that you know what's going on from beginning to end. Now, typically speaking, I get 3 questions when it comes to the home inspection. First question is, Cliff, won't it make me less competitive if I put an offer in and I put in a home inspection? Truthfully, yes, it may. But do you want to roll the dice and get a house, just leave that out for the sake of getting a house that you may run into some key issues for? It's just not worth it. The second question I get asked is, Cliff, doesn't the homeowner provide a disclosure? And if there was an issue with the home, wouldn't they let me know about that issue? Well, quite frankly, yes, most cases there is a disclosure, but some people may not know what's going on in their home. They may not be in and around, and they may not have a high skill at maintenance of their home. Other people, truthfully, in this market where there are some offers coming in with no home inspection, don't disclose, and they leave it be. And I'll give you a couple examples of that whenever we go further in our conversation. The other thing that people ask me is, well, Cliff, doesn't it cost? Yes, there is a cost involved, but the cost now could save you hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands down the road based on some of the reports that I have seen. And I have some key and good qualified home inspectors that I can advise you and connect you with for sure. So why should we do a home inspection? I'm going to give you 5 examples today, and number 5 is the wowie again. So a couple of years ago, I had buyers. We went to look at a property. It looked great, looked wonderful. We did the home inspection. Come to find out through the home inspection that the basement wall had a major issue that potentially needed cared for right away. My buyers could have walked. They didn't because they had the know-how and the equipment to be able to deal with this issue. Now, the current homeowner, they had signed a disclosure, filled it out, very honest person. Their realtor was a very honest person. And the deal is that they did not do a home inspection with the agent they purchased the home with. They were livid because they were advised, hey, you'll be less competitive if you want the home. They could have been stuck with this home if my buyers did not have the know-how or the equipment, because the majority of people would not have had that, okay? So there's a classic example. Another example, we went to look at a home with another buyer. With this home, you wouldn't be able to see the roof unless you were on another street looking over, because in the backyard it was so high. When we did the home inspection, we found out with a December storm that had ripped off a whole bunch of shingles off the roof. They would have been around the yard. Well, guess what? The shingles were all cleared up. That was not disclosed, even though it was filled out. Whenever I asked about that, I was told a half hour later, oh, by the way, the sellers have a roof quote. I was like, well, if they had a roof quote, why didn't they disclose that they had an issue? Oh, they probably didn't know. They knew. They had to have known because the inspector said there would have been shingles all over the yard. There was 20 or 30 that were blown off the roof. The cost, and sellers, you need to pay attention to this. We ended up walking away because we didn't trust them. Number one, if they didn't disclose that, what else were they not disclosing? And they lost that deal. They ended up selling it for less and had to do the repairs. So it's important to make sure that you are disclosing what's going on in your house. Now, home inspectors also look at not just the structural, but they look at the electrical. We had buyers a number of years ago. We went in, and the original homeowner didn't know there was aluminum wiring. When the house was built, the electrician at the time, they did it to code. They put some aluminum in one section of the house. But when we did the home inspection, we needed to make sure the aluminum wiring was cared for properly in the current state it was in. So we had the homeowner pay for that because it can be quite costly to do that. So we ended up years later, when they went to sell the house again, we could document that that was done because it came up in the home inspection, and we were able to document that that was cared for and taken care of. Now, home inspectors also go through the mechanical and they make sure everything's up to working order. I have sold so many homes where homeowners have air exchangers and they think, hey, as long as the switch is on and it sounds like it's running and humming along, it's good, but they never clean it. And that can cause motors to burn out or other issues. I had a home where it was located in the attic, so the owner thought, well, you know what, it's too inconvenient, and they didn't know about it to begin with. So it ended up the motor died in that unit, and luckily we were able to get a motor that fit that unit, so we didn't have to replace the whole unit to close the home. So we lucked out there that it was a minor repair, not a whole unit. So again, it saved the buyer a problem. That was a listing that I had. Number 5, the biggie. There was a couple who went in, and again, this wasn't disclosed, but they decided with some advice that, hey, you know what? Well, house seems in really, really good shape, which you cannot go by how well a house is or what shape it's in. They didn't put in a home inspection. A couple of nights in, they were hearing some scratchy, some squeaky noises, and it's like, okay, well, we'll just let it be. It's our imagination. It got to the point the first week they couldn't ignore the sounds. They had an exterminator in. The attic was full of bats, something that would have been easily seen on a home inspection. It was full of bats and bat guano, and they had to get that all cleared out and cleaned out. They ended up going to court. There was all these lawsuits. Everybody was suing everybody. They could have prevented that headache and had the owner deal with that if they wanted to continue with the house. Now they were stuck with the house. They could have had that done without all that legal battle if they had had a home inspection. So there's 5 key areas. I could sit and give you example after example after example. Home inspectors are worth every penny that you pay them. They are worth their weight in gold. No, they're not the be-all, end-all. I'll qualify that for them. But the fact of the matter is you can save yourself a lot of headaches if you have one. We have had buyers, I've had buyers that have walked away from deals because something was too extensive for them and the homeowner couldn't afford to fix the problem. So it's key. I can't emphasize it and stress it enough, the importance of having a qualified home inspector go in and do a home inspection. Clifton Quayle, eXp Realty, thank you. God bless. If you need any more advice or tips, just give me a call. My information's right down below. Listen, I want to look after you. I want to make sure that when you are making the greatest purchase in your life or selling the greatest purchase of your life, that you're getting the best purchase and getting the most bang for your buck for your investment that you can. Have a great weekend coming up. We'll see you again next week.